local station. What is that?
What is that?
Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.
You are now listening to Spark FM.
I'm over here looking for Boss Lady. Where Boss Lady at? Because it was on ESPN. Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I found it. Here we go. Hold up.
Igniting the airwaves, Spark FM.
When we came up with that name Spark, it just seemed so necessary because we're putting the spark back in New England. We're igniting it back up, turning the flames on, getting it nice and hot so that when we are ready to, really get back out into the world and things start opening up, that, we can make a greater impact and really go forward with marketing and promotions and making sure that people understand that we are there for them. It was built by us, for us. Oftentimes, big name media brands market to this community, but don't really serve it well. What Spark aims to do now is to really kind of give back with resources and attention to different things that are going on within these confines of urban Boston. We've seen Stacey Abrams do it. We've seen Killer Mike do it with Greenwood Bank. We're now starting to see an uprise of a lot more sustainable leadership coming out of the Black community that's so important for all of us growing. Right now, Black and brown businesses face a struggle with getting capital, getting recognition, getting support, just getting media attention. So Comcast Rise came at a time where business owners are literally looking for any type of help. Because we're a digital radio station, we rely heavily on technology. And one of their grants was the technology grant. And we got that one, which upgraded a few pieces of our equipment and gave us really great internet and phone service that we didn't have to pay for a year. And any business will tell you that is a really big burden off of our backs. I made history as the first Black woman in Boston to own a digital radio station. And we started to get picked up by different publications across the pretty much across the nation. And what that did was really kind of position us to be able to move forward in a really great way. So our next steps are literally to grow this, build a foundation, really get the blueprint settled, and have a good way so that we can expand to the same pretty much demographic in a different geographical location. We're thinking either North Carolina or Atlanta, but market research will tell us when it's that time.
Hey, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Y'all don't see these blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings. I'm so blessed. Shout out to Danielle Hot Sauce Johnson, Spark FM Online, all because of her. And so when one door closes, you just kick that mother in and make your own. So I am so honored to be here. I'm so blessed to be a part of such an amazing historical movement taking place here in the city of Boston. And so what you guys know, today is Motivational Monday, right? Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I didn't even know I was in the video until we started watching together. So that is such a blessing because that was pre-kickoff time. And so I am honored and amazed and so happy right now. Other than that, so today is Motivational Monday and we're talking about making excuses and how excuses are the tools of the incompetent. They build monuments of nothingness. Those who choose to use them seldom amount to anything. And so that is what we'll be talking about from 12 to 1 p.m. But we are going to go ahead and kick off the news. Before we talk about the news, let me talk about decisions I made this weekend. And so first and foremost, I decided that, I technically am pescatarian, and so I I eat pest. I eat fish, I eat seafood, I eat things that are in the sea, but it's still an animal. And so I decided that I am doing a plant-based diet. And so no cookies and candy and chips and chocolate. We are seriously, because when I wave 2 times. And so we gonna go ahead and kill that wave real quick. And Anari told me that he's going to work with me to make sure that we get our bodies moving outside and inside. And so I'm really excited, but I'm really nervous because with change comes sacrifice. And I was supposed to wake up at 5 today. I woke up, but then I went back to sleep. I went this weekend for the first time ever to Raps and Rhythm. And let me tell you, I took my fat ass there 2 days in a row. It was so good. I haven't eaten meat. And how did that start, Tayla? Did you just make a decision? No. So I was pregnant with baby Rain, and anytime I ate meat, I literally got sick. So I had no morning sickness. I had no illness. I was good. But anytime I would eat meat or dairy, I would get sick to my stomach. And so I just stopped eating meat. And then once he was born, I was like, all right, all those hormones are gone. Let's try this again. And the texture of chicken. And there's sometimes Uncle Terry, my uncle, my daddy's brother, is probably one of the best chefs I ever met in my life. Never went to school for it, can just go in the kitchen and throw all the way down. And so when Uncle Terry makes some things, I don't eat meat, but I tried so bad. And he made some fried chicken, and I took a bite and it smelled good and it tasted good. But then the texture of the meat on my tongue, I can't do it. And so that's where I am right now. But I was, I went in there and was like, can you just feed me? There's a lot on the board. I don't understand half of the language of what this means or what that means. I was just like, just cook me some food, feed me. And they went ahead and they fed me faux fried chicken or chicken strips that's really made out of oyster mushroom. Yo. So we went on Saturday. Anari drove me, and I got the chicken strips with a steak bomb. And he was like, yo, I'm not eating anything because you already told me they don't have no meat. Like, it's all vegan stuff. I'm good. And so I was like, yo, but this is chicken. He was like, it's chicken. I was like, yeah, taste it. And he was like, yo, this is good. What is this? I was like, mushrooms. He was like, why would you do that to me? Can I get another one though? And then the steak bomb. So if you follow me on IG, TAYLAANDRE, you'll see that's that mother. Yo, I don't, how vegan stuff tastes better than quote unquote real food. That's what I've been saying all weekend. How vegan tastes better than real food, but it is real food. And the thing about it being actual food is like I was full. I ate one meal on Saturday and one meal on Sunday. That when you get real freaking nutrients, when you get real supplements into your body, the things that your body actually craves for, you don't feel hungry and feel like you have to snack all the time and munch or fill up your body because there's so many nutrients in what it is that you're actually eating. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to Raps and Rhythm. They don't pay us yet, but I'm gonna get them in the building and get them to pay some bills so we can talk about them some more. What else did we do this weekend? We were supposed to have movie night, and Anari stood me up on movie night. We were supposed to just watch Harry Potters all day. I am like a Harry Potter. I like magical things because I do believe that I am the magic that, like, I'm magical, period. So we were supposed to do magical things and watch Harry Potter, and that didn't happen. And so I am saddened by that. But as far as news is concerned, so Pfizer's COVID vaccine will work against the South African variant and will boost protection for those people who have already had the virus. Blood of people who had Pfizer's and BioNTech jab are still neutralizing the coronavirus. The protection is stronger than those that of someone who have had a different version of the virus, but weaker than the vaccine of the older variants. And so it's weird. It's so weird. And Fenway Park is currently open. Reggie Lewis Center is currently open. They're only doing elders first. And then after the elders, they're doing the healthcare workers. And after the healthcare workers, like everybody else is then last. But we have opened our doors, and many of the NFL, like the big stadiums, have already agreed to open their doors as well to do mass vaccinations. The FEMA is doing mass vaccinate. Like the United States is trying to be better than we were in the past and trying to vaccinate those who want to be vaccinated. So if that's something that you want to do, there's definitely more than just hope out there. They are working to get you that jab. Cori Bush comes under fire for using a Martin Luther King Jr. quote to defend extremely violent riots at St. Louis jail that left an officer injured, as critics blast her as hypocritical after condemning the U.S. Capitol siege. So I'll save my opinion. So the Democratic representative, Cori Bush, has come under fire because she has made a positive response to those in the St. Louis jail that are rioting. Around 117 inmates took over a section of the City Justice Center in downtown St. Louis yesterday, smashing windows and chairs onto the street below. Hours after, Bush of Missouri appeared to tweet a statement of support for the rioters, saying that she'd work to address their grievances. Quoting Martin Luther King Jr., "A riot is the language of the unheard." The comment prompted hundreds of angry responses asking her, so riots are back on the menu. I thought you were off. I thought you didn't like riots after the Capitol siege. So that's Cori's support, right? I would like to say, so the rioters, so there's a picture. They're like, free 57, free this person, free that person. But one of the problems that they're saying is like, there are multiple people in the jail that have coronavirus. There are multiple people that are being subjected to coronavirus. They're not doing what needs to be done in order to separate those that are infected from those who are not infected. And the reason why they are rioting is because they have been asking, begging, and pleading like, yo, the least you could do is put them over there and keep us over there. And we're not even doing, like, can we get the bare minimum? And so let me be clear. You taking over the damn state house ain't like you going to the Capitol and kicking in doors at the Capitol is completely different than you being under the guise or under the watch or a ward of the state, and the state isn't doing anything to protect you. And so there are videos, and I didn't even know dudes in jail had cell phones like this, and like iPhone 11s and iPhone XRs and like real phones, not flip phones, real phones in jail. But there's this one gentleman who's currently incarcerated, and he was showing like his inhaler and this and that. He's just like, I have respiratory problems. They're not addressing my concerns. I told them that I can't just be around everybody that's sick. I already have a pre-existing condition that causes me not to have problems breathing. And this is exactly what the virus is, or the disease is, for disease, not virus, the virus, not disease. And they're not doing anything. And so I do not think it was okay for you to kick down and storm the Capitol doors, but I do understand why those that are currently incarcerated who are forever left on deaf ears here in Massachusetts, left on deaf ears. And we don't even have like a prison industrial complex of like private prisons. We don't have private prisons here in Massachusetts, but yet there are still many complaints about prison guards being extremely violent to those that don't even deserve it. Like, we can go down that rabbit hole a different day. Somebody hit me up and was like, Taylor, you should rename the show, not Wake Up with Taylor Andre, but Going Down a Rabbit Hole. That is not what's going to happen, but I get it. Bitcoin surges to a record $44,000 after Tesla's investment of $1.5 billion, and says the company will start accepting it as payment for cars in the near future. In the near future. Bitcoin will be used to purchase vehicles. Miami, Florida said that they are considering paying employees in Bitcoin. If you don't get your ass on some cryptocurrency, like, I'm trying to help you, help us, help yourself. So Tesla has invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. The company said on Monday that it will also start accepting payments for its cars and other products with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has surged to a record high of $44,000 soon after Tesla's announcement. Shares of Tesla, which said its decision was part of a broad investment policy, were up 1.8% off the back of the disclosure. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been weighing in regularly over the past week to the frenzy of the Dogecoin, and GameStop. Announcements came just after Musk briefly changed his Twitter bio to simply read #Bitcoin. Get you some, get you some. I have a couple dollars of Bitcoin, a little bit of uranium. It's uranium. I don't know what it is. And then I have another one that's like social coin. I don't know I really liked it because when I watched it 5 years ago, it was like, basically, instead of giving likes, like based on when you give people information, let's say, for instance, we're doing the whole Taylor Andre show. Good rising, good rising. I've been vegan for 7 days. I think you feel good after doing it. And right now, I'm just vegetarian. I'm really excited after going fully. I started detoxing liquid. You can see, like, when you detox, you think you're supposed to have clear skin and what happens first is all that nastiness gets pushed out of your body. And then you get to beautification. And so the first thing that happens is everything inside comes out from always, anyways. Good rising to all of you that are just now tuning in. I forgot what we were talking about. I lost myself. Anyways, Bitcoin. Instead of, so we're doing the Taylor Wake Up with Taylor Andre show. You get a piece of information that's just like, oh, you know what? I like that. And instead of giving a like, you give like a social token. That's what it's called, social tokens. So you give a social token, and then based on that social token, that's like an equivalent of different monies, I guess. And so it's the exchange of information for social tokens. And the premise of this woman who runs this coin, I don't understand cryptocurrency in the least bit. So if I'm saying anything that sounds wrong, it probably is wrong. I'm just going to, but I invested in this social currency because I do believe if you take a look at China right now, and this was like 5 years ago when I invested, I was taking a look at what was going on in China, and China already, Black Mirror. Remember the girl who was so happy and she's like, oh, take a picture of my food. And like everybody started liking her food. And so she gained like social capital. By the end of the show, she had like 0 social capital. That's literally China right now. Don't ever believe anything that comes out of my mouth. Go do your due diligence. Read it for yourself. China is engaging in social currency where if you speak bad about China, your currency declines. If you like are a good communist citizen, you are in the, higher up on your currency. It's crazy. Like China's on a whole nother level. You watch Black Mirror and you're like, oh, that's interesting. But China's like, that's real life. And not just with the social currency, but also with like their ability, because again, it's a communist country. You have no say in what the government does. They do what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it, period. You just live there. And so they have their surveillance is like through the roof. They can find, can I be like, this may be really racist, but I don't mean this racistly. I just like, as a matter of fact. So here in America, our ability to do facial recognition sucks. Unless you're a white man, the facial recognition does not work as well with any other race. And so this sounds really ignorant, but I promise you I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I want to know how China has been able to differentiate between all of the, like, what is it, like 1.4 billion people who live in China that kind of, sort of have very similar physical features, and how they are able to like know who you are, period. And the United States hasn't even figured out how to tell Black men apart. Like, not trying to be rude and disrespectful, but you do understand the question I'm trying to ask. Like, how Asians with very much similarities be able to have state-of-the-art technology. Mind you, I'm not for facial recognition software. I do not like it. It reminds me of 1984, the book by George Orwell, which makes everybody damn near thought police every time I think something. And I damn near have thought police on my phone because Anari and I were talking about something, and all of a sudden it came up in an ad on Instagram. I said, oh, Siri, listening. I didn't have to call your name, but you still try to figure out what it is I want. These are the problems that we really have to. Good rising. It's real life. Marcus Smart, who is a Boston Celtics. I want to know how much money Vistaprint paid to get put on a Boston Celtics jersey. Because if that's the case, I'm about to buy a Taylor Andre logo right here too. So Marcus Smart is an NBA player who's enjoying all the benefits that come with the fame and success. But it wasn't too long ago that he was the target of racial profiling from the police. The Boston Celtics guard told the story that he endured when he was a rookie and how Black people are often unfairly treated by law enforcement. And so he said that he was driving to the Garden. I'm getting ready. And of course I'm speeding because I'm late. CP time. I think I'm rookie at this time, I'm pretty sure, because I have to be there early, so I'm rushing. A cop pulls me over, understandably. The officer walks up to the car. Mind you, he's in Boston because the garden is in Boston, and so we're talking about Boston police. Let's be very, very clear in whom it is that we're speaking about. He continued, I tell the cop my registration is in my glove department. Oh, Lord, Marcus. Let's talk, Marcus. It's not a glove department. It is a glove compartment. Yo, who did not correct this? You knew what that man meant. You didn't have to make him look dumb. Who's the editor? Y'all could have fixed this and made that man look brighter and more intelligent. But it's a glove compartment, not the department. It's a compartment. I just want to be clear for all of those that do not know. I told the cop that my registration is in the glove department. Do you mind if I reach for it? I grab it and he's kind of looking at me up and down, like analyzing me. He looks at my license and registration and he goes, is this your car? When you have my registration and it has my name on it, so yes, sir, it is my car. He's looking at me and says, wow, you speak nice. You speak very well. You dress well. You're not a rapper. I'm like, what? The officer went on to furtherly racially stereotype Smart, who believes his career may have spared him from a more violent encounter. Smart continued recounting the story. So you must be some type of athlete. What athlete are you? And I'm just like, excuse me? I play for the Boston Celtics. And when I told him that, everything changed. He said, oh, wow, my family are big Celtics fans. And it's just like, what if I wasn't an athlete? Would you still feel the same way that you're feeling now? Because before I told you who I was and what I did, it was a whole different story, and that's terrifying. Smart also said that his mother, like many other parents in the Black community, taught him the rules and how to act when being pulled over by police, and that includes hands on 10 and 2 and letting the officer know you're reaching for anything and don't wear a hooded shirt. A lot of African Americans and minorities are blessed to be aren't blessed to be of somebody of status, and it hurts because they will be treated unfairly. We're humans and you should treat us like humans. That's the problem, being a Black man in this country, and one day having to tell my kids that this is how things go and this is how you have to act and this is what you have to do. And I totally agree, because Anari and I have had that conversation many a times, and not with just driving, but just period, as a Black man, period, in life, how he needs to conduct himself, because like even like him play fighting with his little female friends. And I'm like, you do not understand. You cannot play fight outside of, first and foremost, you can't play fight with a female ever, because at any point in time, all she got to do is call the cops and say he hit me. Who they gonna believe? You or her? Always her. Don't ever play fight with a female. And he's like, but mommy, we're playing. You know how little girls like to hit and run and flirt. And I hate that is the conversation that I have to have continuously with him. But you can't. You can't. Maybe everybody else can do it. Maybe other people can do it, but you cannot. And I really do hate that we do talk about that. And we have to talk about that continuously over and over and over again. And him and his friends like slap boxing outside, playing with each other. The police just see y'all as Black men being aggressive. Like, y'all can't even be boys. And so, hold on, let's get to the Robinhood, GameStop. Code is a language. When people write code, it's like their own personal language. A lot of American coders have bias on people of color. Oh, that's why it shows in their code. Hence why surveillance can't tell the difference between a Black person and a white person. Thank you, Zion Lance, because I was really confused. Like, so Asian coders don't have any biases against Asian coders because it's one of them. And so when white people are coding, they're coding for white people with a bias against Blacks. That makes sense. And I appreciate you breaking that down for me. And so that means we need more Black coders in this. Actually, let them continue to mischaracterize and misplace people. You want to know why? Because there is no face, there is no case. Throw it out. Continue messing that stuff up, please. In other news, Ice Cube said that he reveals that he will meet with President Biden about his contract with Black America. Remember, this was like huge when Donald Trump was like, yeah, Ice Cube, I'll meet with you. Talk about the contract of, what was it, the $1.5 billion for Black America. And everybody called him any and every type of name. Went back and used some of his lyrics from back in the day against him. And for me, like, it was different from me. I understand why people were upset. Like, I get it. But at the same time, y'all don't understand what he was trying to do for us. And so it wasn't about him having conversations. Like, that was the president. He was having a conversation with somebody who could, with a stroke of a pen, executive order it. Why were we so mad that he was having conversations with the person who could actually make a change or make a difference? And he was like, yo, Biden and Harris haven't even hit me up yet. President Trump wants me to sit down and have a conversation. What I think was the problem was there was a white woman who tweeted and was like, oh, shout out to Ice Cube for meeting with Trump. Like, the framing of it was completely off. And had Ice Cube got in front of it and was like, listen, this is my plan for Black America. NWA's plan for Black America, because you have to understand the mindset of Cube and understand who Cube was before music, who Cube is now. Anything and everything that Cube does, it's all in his hands. Don't nobody control any movie Cube was ever in. If he wasn't the producer, the director, the writer, if he wasn't everything, he was like main key components of it. I don't understand why we hated that man so much and got in his ass and talked all this trash about him when all he trying to do is right by you, make sure you have a good day. So if you're not following that story, Cube look hard. Hold on, I gotta show. Let me share this screen. If you're currently not watching and you're listening right now, head over to TaylaAndre. At any time, we always record our shows on YouTube. You see, look how hard he looked. He looked like he had a rough life. I don't know if it's just quarantine or if it's like not having a filter. But them lips look like he's still chiefing all day, all day, every day. If you are not following the story, please head over to anywhere and just Google it and learn some what's going on with Ice Cube and what's in the package and what's in the deal and the conversation that he's actually having and how it is that he proposes to help Black Americans. In other news, FAFSA audits Black and Latino students at a higher rate. About 18 million students filled out the FAFSA in 2019. Do you know that if you were ever convicted of a felony, you can never receive FAFSA? That is one of the things that I would love for our congressmen and women to really readjust is, so if you had a felony, and it's period, it's like not, like 5 years ago you had a felony. If you had a felony, you can't get FAFSA money. You can't get grant money to go to school. And most likely, who does that affect? Black men out of everyone. And so when you take a look at how disproportionately a Black man with a blunt versus a white man with cocaine was treated, there were 18-year-olds in the 90s or 13-year-olds in the 90s, 14-year-olds in the 80s that were outside selling whatever it is that they were selling at the time. I'm just trying to put some food on a plate for my daughter, Biggie style, and our current felons because of weed, because of this, because of that, but never committed a violent act against humanity. Or I forgot how the legal language is, but when whatever your act or your crime is doesn't involve another person, you're not harming anyone but yourself, or you're not interfering with life outside of you, but still considered a felon and still can't at 45 years old, 36 years old, can't get FAFSA money. That $4,500 goes a long way when you're taking classes in the summertime, and that's 6 classes that you can take with that FAFSA money. Yes, it's a really big deal. And this is something that I truly believe that we need to take a look at as a society and alter and say, like, no, this is not okay and this is unacceptable. Approximately 18 million students who filed the free application for the federal student aid, aka FAFSA, nearly a quarter were flagged for verification in the 2019-2020 cycle. After filing the FAFSA, a 20-year-old sophomore at Maryville University in St. Louis received a notice requesting that she complete a worksheet detailing the size of her family and their earnings. After turning in the form to financial aid, she was told weeks later that the form was missing and she had to fill out another one. Edwards' audit didn't end until nearly the end of the semester. By that point, she had lost out on scholarships provided on a first-come, first-served basis for the fall, which left Edwards owing money and ineligible to register for spring classes. She said that this is very stressful. My grades are suffering. I have all of these doubts about, am I even going to finish college? My parents didn't go to college and all they were trying to do was help. And this is all new to us. And I remember like Birmingham Southern College. I remember it being in the registrar's office or the bourgeois office, whoever's office it was. And they were like, you have to sign right here. And I was like, there's literally 30 pages. There's literally 30. Can I take it with me? Can I go home and read it? Nah, you have to sign right now. Or no enrollment, you can't go to class, you have to sign this. I'm like, but there's so much information here. There's all this little print, all like the bold print, give it. Yeah, you can come to class, but a small print say your ass in debt forever. How is it at 25 years old, I still need verification to rent a car, but I can literally sign my life away in the form of $100,000 loan, and there is no space or any room for you to go ahead and sit down with an attorney and actually, you know what? I just recently learned. So I learned, being in real estate, I learned about cross out, like when you strike out. So there's any and every legal document, you can strike out what you don't agree to, and then you sign it, and then you submit it to whomever it is that you want to submit it to. And so I don't know why I'm whispering like this ain't a recording, but if ever I've had to go to the hospital and they ask you to sign all of these forms and they're like, oh, you can digitally sign. I'm not digitally signing a damn thing. Can I please have the hard copies? And then it's like HIPAA law. You have to give me the hard copies. And even though they laminate it, like, oh no, here's the laminated version, just read this. Nah, I want the hard copies. This is a legal document that I am literally signing and legally agreeing to. Give me the hard copies. And sometimes you have to ask for a supervisor. I don't care where you go. If they want you to sign something electronically, don't do it. Why? Because if you get a physical copy and you look through it and you don't agree to something, because whenever the question is when you go to the hospital, and the question is, if your insurance company does not pay for it, you're responsible. Where my pen at? Nope. Nope. Go over to the last page, and then I sign it, and then I turn it in. Y'all accepted it. So don't come here looking for payment for nothing, because I striked out. I signed it. You accepted what I signed. And I take a picture of it for proof and verification. And so you can do that with anything and everything. Do they always have to accept it? Of course not. But because not everybody knows about strikeouts, not everybody understands their legal right as a straw man, which is a really real thing. And that is a rabbit hole that I went all the way down and found my account number. And they were like, if you want more information on this account, send $25 a self-addressed stamp envelope to this address, and we'll send you your account number. At that point, that's when I got scared. I still have the address hidden away, stashed away in an email. But I'm so scared of what that account number, like, I just don't want to crack it open. And then I got the CIA. I don't want to send no letter nowhere. Then the CIA, the FBI, and everybody else at my doorstep. I do not want it to be Martin Luther King Jr. I don't want to be Malcolm Little. I do not. I have an entire life to live. But I do want my quote-unquote $250,000 that's supposed to be in my account, because your birth certificate and your social security number are traded on the stock market, and that is technically what your account is. Your account is your human capital being traded on stock. And so even though slaves were the first commodity, or one of the first commodities traded on the stock market, we as humans are still traded today. And that is why all of your entire documents always have you in capitalized letters, because you and your straw man are two very separate things. And so if you see any legal documents, it always has capitalization of your name, where non-legal documents have a capital T and capital A. So if you learned anything right now, and again, don't believe nothing that comes out of my mouth ever. Don't ever believe a damn thing I ever say. I'm always wrong. Do your due diligence, pay attention for yourself, get the knowledge for yourself, and then if it feels right, if it registers with you, then you can move forward. But don't ever believe anything that I say. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Share with your friends, like, subscribe. If you learned anything, let's transfer this energy one together. Spark FM Online.
The People Station. What is that?
What is that?
Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Domingo Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLA@thumbprintrealty.com.
Igniting the airwaves. Spark FM.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. And so once upon a time, so we're still in the news portion of the show, hit 12 o'clock. That's when we'll talk about our topic about excuses. Excuses are nothing but tools of the incompetent. So parents wanted to opt their children out of Black History Month, and a Utah school reluctantly let them do it. And then after the nationwide response, they were like, okay, we're sorry. you guys can no longer opt out of Black history. You have to learn. And so it is the Maria Montessori School, which is a public charter school. And so for those who do not know, it is a public school in the sense of it gets public dollars, but it is a charter school where it does not have the bureaucracy of the system in which is the school system. And so here, my children attend a public charter as well, which is Edward Brook. And I hate the school. I absolutely can't stand the principal. I wrote a very nasty, because I believe she's racist. I believe because she is married to the director of the school, that she uses our children as guinea pigs for her own. Like, she writes the curriculum. She writes the curriculum for kindergarten through 12th grade. She is the end all be all to the student's education. And there is very little to no cultural competency within the curriculum. And so I was just like, listen, my grandmother told me, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But somebody need to tell you the truth about who you are and how much damage you are truly doing to these children. And I have not received an email back. I partially don't need an email back because I didn't ask any questions. I made a statement, period. But I strongly believe we cannot learn American history without learning Black history, said U.S. Rep. Blake D. Moore, Republican, whose district includes North Ogden. Imagine if we had to teach Utah history without highlighting the persecution of early members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who led the migration west. The incident in the latest controversy to demonstrate how attempting to teach students about America's past has grown increasingly fraught. Some parents and educators advocating for more unvarnished look of the legacy. Remember the Trump wanted to come out with his own project. Trump wanted to come out and be like, listen, we're only going to teach white history. And people gave him a side eye and was like, we already do that. Like, that's all the curriculums across the country. So I want to give a huge shout out to Carrie Mays. Carrie Mays is an amazing young woman here in the city of Boston. She has been an advocate. I met her maybe like 5 years ago through C-Plan, Julia Mahia, and she is dope. She recently posted, and it was retweeted, not retweeted, but shared on Facebook 27,000 times. Dear Whitewash School Curriculum, teach Black history beyond slavery, period. Like, nothing else needs to be said. In other news, I absolutely love this story. The MTA's first ever chief accessibility officer is someone in a wheelchair. I don't think you understand why this is so important. So for you to have accessibility chiefs or officers or this or that, and you aren't somebody with whatever, like, imagine having, how do we teach blind kids? Oh, I know how to teach blind kids. Have you ever been blind? No. How do you know the struggles a blind person goes through? I'm an expert. And so we have a lot of freaking experts everywhere across all sectors of everything that have not experienced what this sector is requiring. And so the MTA, the Massachusetts Teachers Association, has hired Q Arroyo, who is 31 years old. And I'm happy. I'm sorry. I completely butchered that. So not the MTA of the Mass Teachers Association, the MTA of the transit. I don't know how I butchered that, but I did. So he is the chief accessibility officer, and he is in a wheelchair. And so the reason why I thoroughly enjoy this story is because somebody who looks like the disability that they're trying to solve for is like, I know exactly what we need. We need ramps that do this instead of ramps that do that. And then he has a valid reason for knowing how these ramps don't work. And so I want to take that, and like, let's mold that a little bit. How do we continuously have business teachers that have never owned a business? We have, I was about to say art teachers that can't draw. I had an art teacher in middle school and I could draw better than her. And if you know me, you already know I can barely write, let alone draw. I don't understand how people get jobs where they don't qualify for. And why do we allow it? I'm the chief diversity officer. You're white. How? Oh, and somebody, hold on really quickly. So last week when we closed out Freaky Friday non-freaky because an article popped up of the new police commissioner. Like nobody even knew that we were swearing in a new police commissioner, let alone this man who beat his wife and is currently on administrative leave. And so first and foremost, the first thing for me is people were like, yo, Tayla, you can't, just because he's light skinned don't mean he's not black. Like you can't say he's not black just because he's fair skinned. If you can walk around society and pass as a white man, I don't think that we should be congratulating and celebrating having a second black, because you psychologically, you know you're black. Your family knows you're black. Your mommy, your daddy, whomever is black knows you're black. But when you walk out here and people open doors for you, women don't clutch their purse for you, you get to have conversations, you get pulled over. No, like outside of being a man in blue, because being black and being blue, being a black man in blue is a completely different conversation that we can have on another day. But being a white passing black man, you don't know the struggles of a black man. And maybe you do. Maybe, Tayla, what do you know? I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. I'm completely assuming that you walking around looking like a white man have never had black man issues. And so to give you the title of the second black commissioner ever, where your bloodline says you're black, but what does your mind say of you? And that's exactly how I feel about Kamala Harris. And so I love the aesthetics of a black woman sitting on the second highest position in America's land. But at the same time, she does not have the mind of a black woman. And because she went to Howard and because she is an AKA, they got white AKAs. There's white people at Howard. Do you have the mind of a black woman? Do you protect black men? Do you have black children? I digress. So in other news, Mark Zuckerberg wants to end us commuting to work, and he wants us to do virtual reality. He made a suggestion on a Clubhouse. They're calling Clubhouse a talk show. But he made this comment. He said, one of the things that VR or virtual reality will unlock is the ability to live anywhere you want and be present in another place and feel like you are really there. It's going to unlock a lot of economic opportunities because people will be able to live where they want and increasingly work where they want and kind of teleport to that place. I am also pretty optimistic about the impact on climate and reducing the amount of commuting that people have to do. I think the advance in electric cars and reducing emissions is great and exciting, but I tell my team that it's easier to move bits of atoms around, so we should be teleporting, not driving. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. Meet George Jetson. This is what I love about technology. Chinese authorities have blocked domestic access to the audio-only social app Clubhouse after it attracted untold numbers of Chinese people to uncensored cross-border discussions on political and human rights subjects. How do we still, in 2021, how do we still allow communist countries to like... When I think about communist countries, it really reminds me of like, that's the devil's music. You can only listen to church music. And it's just like, okay, I can only watch black and white movies. I can only do these things. And then you hit society and you hit the real world and you're so far removed from reality because you were put in this bubble. I wonder how do Chinese people even come to America? I say that ignorantly, like trying to understand, like, why would communist China ever let, like, if you're that much of a communist, you're that much of a dictator. I'm thinking of myself like being a dictator. I would never want my children to go outside because then you see how great it is outside of China. You'd never come back home. I wonder I'm going to go down that rabbit hole by myself, but I wonder what are the procedures? Like, how does a Chinese person leave China? And do they ever want to go back after getting a taste of freedom? Do you guys know any Chinese people that are from China that live here? Oh, it's a virtual world, virtual reality. So we can actually talk to anybody unless communist China won't let them access a Tayla Andre show because you know why. We just talked about it. Jamaica is reportedly running out of marijuana. Tell me how that is humanly possible. It is literally smack dab in sunshine. Just grow more. Though many vacationers flock to Jamaica to enjoy its beautiful beaches and Caribbean food and reggae, the scenery isn't the only attraction. The country's good ganja also draws tourists, but unfortunately the supply is running low. The shortage in the islands famed are largely illegal market, all because of the heavy rains followed by extended drought. But I would think that I would think that what's it called when you adapt? I'm surprised like they don't have strands that would have adapted because this is like Jamaica has always had like a lot of rain and then drought and then rain and then drought. So I'm surprised that there aren't strands that have adapted to that scenario or why you just don't get a greenhouse. I'm confused. Christian Thompson said that is a cultural embarrassment, which I think it is. It's actually kind of ironic. And when I went to Jamaica and smoked weed, I hated it. I did not enjoy that weed at all. So I don't know if it was because who I got it from or what it was that I was smoking, but I told them that I wanted something that actually came off of a tree. And now that I think about it, understanding the process, like it needed to be burped, it needed to dry out. So maybe that's why it was trash. Okay, I recant. Maybe it wasn't trash. Just the circumstance was. Former New York police chief says cops did nothing egregious in the Daniel Prue death because there were no strikes or punches. That does not mean that there was nothing egregious, but Laurent Singletary, who was fired by the mayor after the video's public release, answered questions Friday in a live stream hour-long disposition about the city's handling of the case. The city council's fact-finding review is separate from an ongoing grand jury investigation. Singletary said he spoke twice to Mayor Lovely Warren on March 23rd, and by then he had watched some of the video camera footage from the scene. It appeared that there was nothing egregious at that point in time. I explained to the mayor that they were going to do an investigation. I told the mayor there were no strikes, there were no punches in regard to the video, and so there was nothing egregious done. We're gonna just leave that there because I'm tired of reporting on stories like that over and over and over and over and over again. And so I just would really like, you know, what is it? Eye for eye, tooth for a tooth. I really would love to see how you would like your family to be treated by you. Like, start treating people like you would want your family to be treated by another officer until it becomes a problem. We're coming to the top of the hour. One of the last story that I wanted to cover. So states are cutting mental health care despite mad people going through depression because of COVID-19. And so, like, if we have a real conversation about mental health, every single last one of us is crazy. Like, all of us are crazy. All of us are living imaginary worlds inside of our head and in reality. We we're insane. We're absolutely insane. We don't have any self-management. We're not taught how to mentally manage ourselves unless you actively go out and read and study and educate and manage yourself and, go through the motions of evaluating yourself and finding there is something wrong and helping yourself. We are constantly like in a mental battle with self. And all of us need mental health services. Every single last one of us. I'm not pointing fingers. It's not about a race. It's not about a situation. I don't care where you grew up. Every single last one of us needs someone to sit down and have a conversation with that understands the psychology of humans. And I never understood why having a therapist wasn't mandatory. So I remember when I was in school, we literally had guidance counselors and everybody had to meet with their guidance counselor at least once a week, even if it was 5 minutes. If it had something to do with your schedule, it just had something to do with your classes, it had something to do with your grades. Everybody met with their guidance counselor once a week. Quick check-in. Are you good? I never understood, like, in society, when you grow up, like, I was always looking for my guidance counselor. Like, where the guidance counselor at? They're like, this is college. Are you experiencing mental health issues? I'm like, no, I just want the guidance counselor because I grew up having a guidance counselor and not having police at my school. And I thought it was something normal that when you grow up, everybody just have a guidance counselor. It was like in my head, again, because we all crazy, right? So in my head, it was like your fairy godmother, but it's like everybody have a guidance counselor. I still don't understand why we don't act as if we're not all crazy and everybody needs someone to talk to. But because of the pandemic and because of these dollars being funneled everywhere else, they are looking at reallocating some of the mental health dollars in order to take care of some more of this COVID stuff and taking care of nurses and taking care, like, we quote unquote don't have enough money, even though we spend trillions of effing dollars taking over other people's countries, trillions of effing dollars on, what was it? It was like $1.6 billion for one bomb. One bomb. We ain't even bombing nobody right now. But I digress. We're going to go ahead and pay these bills. And when we come back, let's talk about making effing excuses. I'm tired of you making excuses. I need results, not excuses. Show me what you about to do and stop telling me what you can't do. So let's go ahead and talk about this real life. Stop making excuses for your life because excuses are the tools of the incompetent. Baby, are you incompetent? You are not. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing.
The People Station. What is that?
What is that?
Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLA@thumbprintrealty.com.
You are enjoying the miracle of radio.
Radio. New England's #1 urban Caribbean music. Radio.
Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Let's start with the big question.
Who are you?
The all new Spark FM.
Igniting the airwaves. Spark FM.
When we came up with that name Spark, it just seemed so necessary because we're putting the spark back in New England. We're igniting it back up, turning the flames on, getting it nice and hot so that when we are ready to, really get back out into the world and things start opening up, that, we can make a greater impact and really go forward with marketing and promotions and making sure that people understand that we are there for them. It was built by us, for us. Oftentimes, big name media brands market to this community, but don't really serve it well. What Spark aims to do now is to really kind of give back with resources and attention to different things that are going on within these confines of urban Boston. We've seen Stacey Abrams do it. We've seen Killer Mike do it with Greenwood Bank. We're now starting to see an uprise of a lot more sustainable leadership coming out of the Black community that's so important for all of us growing. Right now, Black and brown businesses face a struggle with getting capital, getting recognition, getting support, just getting media attention. So Comcast Rise came at a time where business owners are literally looking for any type of help. Because we're a digital radio station, we rely heavily on technology. And one of their grants was the technology grant. And we got that one, which upgraded a few pieces of our equipment and gave us really great internet and phone service that we didn't have to pay for a year. And any business will tell you that is a really big burden off of our backs. I made history as the first Black woman in Boston to own a digital radio station. And we started to get picked up by different publications pretty much across the nation. And what that did was really kind of position us to be able to move forward in a really great way. So our next steps are literally to grow this, build a foundation, really get the blueprint settled, and have a good way so that we can expand to the same pretty much demographic in a different geographical location. We're thinking either North Carolina or Atlanta, but market research will tell us when it's that time.
Spark FM online. I promise I'm going to be playing that all month, all year long. I am so excited for us. You want to talk about Black history? Talk about what is being done here in your own city, in your own backyard. Don't wait until we're in Georgia. Don't wait until we're in South Carolina. Give us our dues, props now. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let them know what's going on. And so really quickly before we transition, I want to read some of this comment. That's what's happening in nursing homes in New York and New Jersey, how they put COVID-19 positive seniors in with healthy seniors. And this is probably a comment in regards to the St. Louis jails that are not segregating COVID positive, or even like maybe not even COVID positive, segregating people that are high risk for dying if they catch COVID from people in, healthy populations. Shooter X176 said soon the U.S. will be like China. The glove apartment for the Celtics player who was just like, I told the officer I was reaching for my registration in the glove department. Lord have mercy. What's going on, Nita? I logged in at a hilarious time. It's a media ploy for the investors of the new market to bring in an outside product. A lot of people are somewhere in the 5 stages of grief and don't even know it. Amen, amen, amen. No one to guide them through it. Ashe, you absolutely right. Defund the military, defund the police. I'm with you. And it's not even just about defunding for me. So let me be clear. It's not about just defunding. When I say defund the police, I mean stop buying military, like ex-military toys. First and foremost, what the hell you need a tank for? Why you need a rocket launcher? Why you need a flamethrower? You don't believe me? Go do your due diligence and go find out what your police department recently purchased. I don't care what city you live in, what state you live in. Go find out what your police department recently purchased from the United States government. If we as the taxpayers already bought it, you shouldn't be having to buy it again. First of all. Second of all, you don't need it. The hell you need a flamethrower for? Show me what circumstance you need a flamethrower. Just create one. Just take one out the air, because clearly that's the only reason why you're gonna need a flamethrower. You remember when, what's his name, Deshaun, the boy who did the bombing? When they came out with the tank, they were looking for a reason to come. They were like, oh, we get to bring out the tank today. But for me, it's not just about defunding the police. It's about reallocating those funds. And so just like before we went to break, we were talking about when I was in school, I had a guidance counselor. And I thought guidance counselors were supposed to be, everybody had a guidance counselor. That's where the funds need to go. Instead of having, I know Steve Wilson gonna beat me for it, but as far as the police officers in the schools, we need less police officers. Well, let me be clear, because Steve is an amazing resource officer. He's still a police officer, but they call them resource officers. And a lot of the resource officers that are not Steve, that are not invested in the community, that do not have Black children, but are resource officers like the one in California that just bust the girl on her head. And parents need to take responsibility for their kids. You can very much, subdue a child without having to bust her on her head and put her into unconsciousness. And so for me, it's reallocation, because a lot of times when these kids are like overly aggressive, they don't have the words, they don't have the language to really talk about what it is that they feel. And that's when they need to actually sit down with someone who understands the brain and what's going on within a teenager and walk them through it. Not somebody who's going to throw them in cuffs and think that's the solution. It's not, period. Zombie invasion. What are you talking about? With the people with the shots? People gonna get the shot. Listen, I bumped into somebody this week and she was like, I just got the vaccine. And she was mad happy. And I was like, ooh. I wanted to take a step back. Like, I know it's supposed to be like the people with the vaccine are supposed to be the safest, but you finna get sick, boo. You didn't get the vaccine, you just got the virus. You just purposely got the virus. Thank you, though, because you are adding to herd immunity, and you're the reason why I won't need to get a vaccine. So I appreciate anybody who is willing to get it. Unfortunately, it won't be me. And so, Motivational Monday, excuses are the tools of the incompetent. They build monuments of nothingness, and those who choose to use them seldom amount to anything. I say that to say, this was the motto that I had to remind myself, and I have to continue reminding myself every time I want to go eat a damn cookie, every time I want some chocolate, every excuse after excuse after excuse. Why can't I go to the gym? It's too far. I don't want to drive all the way to Canton. Well, there's other gyms that are closer to Canton. Well, I don't want to go to that gym. Then what do you want? Like, I had to really have a sit down conversation with myself about the excuses that I make for the things that I want. So there's multiple things that I want. And across every single time, make an excuse. What excuses have you made in your life? What's one thing that you want that you have not done because you continuously make excuses? You don't have to be, you could be honest, you could be transparent, you could throw it in the chat, but if you don't want to throw it in the chat, I want you to ask yourself, what is the thing that you want that you continuously make excuses for? I do not want to weigh what I weigh. I don't want to wear the size that I wear. I want my pre-baby rain body back. I want my previous relationship body back. But I have made any and every excuse on why I can't, or why I don't, or but I love bread, but I like potatoes, but I'm Cape Verdean and we eat rice. Like, any and every excuse. Not only have I adopted it, but I have psychologically believed the excuses that I have given myself. And so this past Thursday, I made a decision that there are no excuses. There are no excuses because I am not incompetent. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent. They build monuments of nothingness. Those who choose to use them seldom amount to anything. That is not who I am. That is not where I'm going. And so I have decided, and so no, this is not milk. This is, I am teaching myself. And so first and foremost, I wasn't able to get through an entire gallon of water yet. Like, I'm not there. And I've been trying to force myself for a good 7 days, trying to force myself to drink an entire gallon of water. And so, you know what? I said, I'm going to trick myself. And I went ahead and I got a half a gallon. And so I'm almost done with this. And the day just began, quote unquote, just began. I have a long day today. I don't end until 8 p.m. And then I go home. So I did half of a gallon until 8 p.m. And once I'm able to train myself to get out of, I can drink a whole gallon. Like, oh my God, I need another one. No more excuses. No more excuses. Gym membership, no more excuses. Jump rope, no more excuses. Going outside even though it was cold and purposely just moving snow to burn some calories. Yo, I'm so serious. And Ari already shoveled, and I was like, but I want to burn some calories though. And so I literally was outside moving snow. I didn't need a shovel. Thank God for sons. Oh, thank you, God, for sons. But I just wanted to move snow because I was not making excuses of, the snow was already moved. I don't have to do it. I just moved it around some more. 13 ways that you can stop making excuses. And so one of the things that we don't understand about making excuses is that it puts us, when we make excuses, we put the onus on something else. We put the problem or the issue or the responsibility on something else, on someone else. Why you didn't get good grades? Well, I couldn't get good grades because the teacher didn't like me, and the teacher didn't grade me right, and the teacher would do this, and the teacher... Listen, pro. I am the pro. I am the number one expert of excuses. Number one. I'm so good at making excuses. I make excuses for other people. Let me tell you why she crazy, right? What happened was her daddy and her mama used to argue. Like, I make excuses for people. Why she show up late? Why the person can't drive? I make excuses all for other people that I don't even know on a regular basis. I decided that I was no longer making excuses for other people. Lil Wayne talked with Trump to help his community and himself. Trump derangement system. Oh, you talking about Ice Cube? When Ice Cube wanted to sit down and talk about the $1.5 trillion for Black community, and now Biden and Harris are gonna sit down with him too. I don't know what's in it. I'm not gonna say that. If he gotta talk to whomever he gotta talk to make it happen, and it ends up working, and we as a community end up with help, who does it matter who has that conversation? Lil Wayne had a conversation with Trump for himself. It wasn't for no community. Where he helped his community. He got his record expunged. He got, what is that? Yeah, I know what I mean. Where on there was it for his community? But look, check this out though. So while reading the stories, so Wayne went ahead. What is it? When your record is cleared off because the president cleared your record. And then immediately after that, it was one day that I didn't get through all of the stories. He is now running a business in Colorado, a weed business in Colorado. And so for me, I was wondering, like, whether or not in that state, if you had a record, it was illegal for you to be able to like curate or own a business or a marijuana business. And so he wanted to go ahead and clear his record so he could do what he needed to do for business. And so, I don't know. That was just a thought that I had. Is it possible? Is it not possible? The world will never know. And so how do we stop making excuses? The first thing you have to do is take responsibility. You have to be honest with yourself. I make excuses. You have to say it out loud. I do this thing and I don't like doing this thing anymore. You have to first admit it, or you're going to or just be in denial for the rest of your life. Are you experiencing fear? Is fear the reason why you can't do this thing? I'm afraid that if I go to school, I won't be able to make the money I typically make in order to sustain my family. I'm afraid I recently had a conversation and this young lady said it, Tayla, I'm afraid that if I start working, that they're going to take my Section 8 away. So you're so afraid to bettering yourself because you're afraid that the crutch will be like you will no longer have a crutch. Like, what is it that you're afraid of that is stopping you from doing this thing that you want to do? What is so many people that I talk to about fixing their credit? It's like, I don't even want to pull my credit. I don't even want to see what's on there. Well, how are we going to fix your credit if you don't pull it? Man, that is just going to be what it is then. Like, for real, these are real conversations that I've had. I don't even want to look at my credit. But you want to buy a house. Yeah. We need to look at your credit. Like, that's what we need to do. So we hinder ourselves from the one thing that we want by allowing fear to control us, by allowing fear to be the reason why we don't step outside of our comfort zone. the more you educate yourself on a thing, the more you can like that. When you think about taxes and the fact that Trump has filed bankruptcy on all of these businesses and has still been able to go on. So hold on, can we take a little detour real quick? And so let's say, for instance, so I do have a business, it's Tayla Made. So let's say, for instance, Tayla Made LLC, and I started another business. It was just like Tayla Don't Make. And so this business, Tayla Don't Make LLC, gets all of this money and gets all of these grants. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm drowning. File for bankruptcy. And I filed for bankruptcy. That Tayla Made nothing, or Tayla doesn't make, does not hurt Tayla Made. And so when you get your DUNS number, what does the DUNS number stand for? DUNS. Uh-oh, what did I do? Oi, oi, oi. DUNS number. What's it stand for? It's a D&B, Dun and Bradstreet number. So your Dun and Bradstreet number is the way that your business is identified. And so Tayla Made's DUNS number and Tayla Don't Make DUNS number are two separate things. And if this entity crashes and burns and files for bankruptcy, even though I got a couple $100,000 in the bank, I get to keep that $100,000 in the bank or transfer or moved it. And the government's like, oh yeah, you are broke. You bankruptcy. And then the company is like flowing in the wind somewhere. And I open another one and it's just like Tayla Made. And like you can have 15 different businesses and 10 of them claim bankruptcy, and that does not affect the other 5 that are actually doing really good business. And so I say that to say, once you understand the way things work, you can then work around how, like, you can move different. Trump's all these tax loopholes. Once you get somebody with some knowledge that knows how to move this and move that and understands different codes, and not just your tax preparer, but somebody who is knowledgeable in business tax, you can move different. So I say that because, we are afraid, or some of us are afraid, or I've experienced people who are fearful and move fearfully, and are afraid to do things because of fear. And so once you educate yourself and you understand something and you're able to navigate the space after, making informed decisions. I loved it. Like, make an informed decision, be fully informed, do your due diligence before you make a decision. And too often we just make decisions uninformed. Shooter X176 said, what is Biden and Harris' plan for Black America? I don't know if you already seen the interview that she did with Black Enterprise, I believe it is. I could be incorrect, but Harris did an interview and she was just like, I have no plan specifically for Black people. But then she rolled out a plan for Pacific Americans. So do with that what you will. Are you experiencing fear? Are you afraid to fail? Listen, I love failure. Fail. I can't even say it. Failure. Why do I love failure? I love failure because I've said this 1,000,001 times. Formula 409. It ain't called Formula 410. It ain't called Formula 51. It ain't called Formula 6. 408 separate times was a fail, like over and over and over and over again. It didn't cut grease. It didn't cleanse. It wasn't antibacterial. 408 separate formulas that did not work until he got to 409. And that is the product that is now on the market. Fail your way into success over and over and over. I guess I failed my way. I guess putting things in perspective, I am really what's it called? Like my self-esteem when it comes to failed relationships. My heart hurts so much for that. But I failed my way into a successful relationship one day. You have to fail over and over again. Do you know how many times I fail as a parent? I am the biggest parental failure every day. Like when I come home and we be yelling and screaming about the damn dishes, why you didn't do this, why you didn't do that, and then I have to woosah. I'm like, yo, I failed today. I apologize. I came home ready to chop off heads. Y'all had a good day today. I love you. I do. Like I fail every day as a parent, every single day. I fail to be supportive. I fail to be understanding. I fail to be compassionate. I fail as a human every single day. But the fact that I acknowledge that I failed is like, it gives me the flexibility to get back on track, to recognize where I failed, to recognize where I didn't do the right thing, and how can I make different decisions and different choices tomorrow. So if you aren't failing and you keep doing this thing and it's really not working, but you're still doing, like, nah, just let me fail. Don't let me continue doing this thing and it's not working, but I'm still doing, like, let me fail flat on my face so I could get up and try again. I'm okay with failure. A lot of us make excuses because, again, because of fear, because of fear, because we don't know what to expect, because I don't care how many crystal balls you have access to. I don't care how many seers that you know. At any point in time, if you decide to take a left instead of a right, you can change destiny every second of every day. So if it's in your destiny to be a loser, to be a bum, and these are just words that people throw out there that really don't have any meaning until you give it meaning attached to yourself. So if you, at any point in time, you can change the trajectory of your life. You can change who you are. You can change your mission, your everything. All you have to do is make a decision. And because of uncertainty, and because uncertainty makes us uncomfortable, because we don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen if I leave my job and I start my own business? I want to give a huge shout out to Faith Naturals. From skincare to hair care to pom pom wash to yoni steam to energy cleanse, everything I do is a Faith Naturals. If you take a look at like all my basket of stuff, it's all Faith Naturals, unless it's a product that she don't make, or unless it's a product that she ain't made in a while. But Faith Naturals worked. She was a worker. She had a full-time job. She had 40 plus hours a week. 5 kids at home and a whole husband. And she decided that she was going to jump off on a limb. No answers, didn't know what to expect, didn't know, just, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it. And she did it. And her business is thriving, successful. Anytime she puts a new product on the shelf, it's sold out within the end of the day. Anytime she reloads or restocks on anything, it's sold out by the end of the day. She can't keep products on the shelf, literally. And that could be you. That could be you with the book that you wrote. Shout out to Tayla Andre, because she wrote a book about first-time home buyers. I had no idea that, I wrote a book because I was sick and tired of answering 1,000,001 questions for clients. It was the same questions over and over and over and over again. Now the prerequisite to working with Tayla Andre to buying a house is reading the book, because most, if not all, your questions will be answered about home ownership. All of them. All of them. I didn't think people were going to read the book. I really did not think. So we have done amazing this year as far as sales are concerned, and we're looking at partnerships. But I did not I really thought it was going to be like my mom, my dad, my auntie, and my nana. Like, I really thought that it was only going to be like 5 books sold. And I am so blessed. And you got to take a leap. Like, you can't give an excuse after an excuse. And I have book after book after book ideas in all of my notebooks. Like, oh, I want to write a book about this. I want to write a book about this. And I've been for years making excuses. Ain't nobody going to read the book. Ain't nobody going to buy the book. I'm going to spend all this time, all this money, all this energy. Don't nobody care about who's Tayla Andre for somebody to buy the book. Who? I got too many haters out here. The haters gonna take, they be taking my banners down. Yo, if you see anybody take a banner down, jump out the car and kick them. Like, I'm so serious. These banners are so expensive. They are so expensive, and people literally be cutting down the banners and letting them fly in the street. Somebody hit me up and was like, yo, you got somebody working on a banner on such and such street? And I was like, no. They're like, hold on. They're taking it down. Mind you, it was somewhere where I had permission for the banner to be, and it wasn't the person who gave me the permission who was taking it down. And so I just want to give a shout out to all of the damn haters. I appreciate you because you thank you for loving me so much that you hate me, because you can't hate nobody that you don't have no love for. You don't have a specific goal. So you could be making excuses because you don't have a goal set, because you haven't went ahead and say, this is how I'm going to move. This is what I'm like. I just jumped off a cliff. I was going to tell you, I don't have no story about making a goal. I was like, I'm just going to write it. I'm just going to write the book. And if people read it, people read it. And if people like it, people like it. And if they don't, there's a bunch of people already who don't like me. So another one bites the dust. And so I just did it. Sometimes for some people, making excuses is because you didn't plan correctly, or you need something drawn out. You need steps. There's a difference between I want to lose weight versus I'm finna drop 35 pounds. Like that. And I've been saying, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I'm finna drop 35 pounds. That's what's finna happen. This size 16 about to be a size 8. I'm about to lose half of me. I'm about to be gone. My face gonna look like a crackhead. You're scared of making mistakes. I was so scared to put the book out because I really write the way that I speak. And y'all already know, like, I'm not articulate. I don't have big words. I'm not doing all of these backflips with the dictionary. And so I was really scared to put the book out because I thought, like, the reviews was like, yo, this chick can't write. She can't read. Spelling, grammar issues, punctuation issues. There's a lot of mistakes in the book. And I just want to give a shout out to my cousin Joanna, because if it wasn't for Joanna, y'all would have one run-on sentence in the whole book. The whole book will be a sentence. It should, listen, to thy own self be true. I know who I am. For every paper I ever had to write in school, in college, I had to get an editor. I paid a lot of my bartending tips in an editor to make sure that I passed the classes I needed to pass, because my writing skills suck. And to thy own self be true. I was scared to put the book out because I knew everybody was going to come for me for the punctuation, for this, for that. You got to do it. You cannot stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses for anything. Stop making excuses why you can't go to school. Stop making excuses why you can't start a business. Stop making excuses why you can't leave your job. Stop making excuses why you can't leave the person who's abusing you mentally, emotionally, physically. Stop making excuses for your kids. Stop making excuses for your a word. Stop making excuses for your kids. Your kids don't do da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They didn't do da-da-da. Yo, when it comes, this was really difficult for me because Anari and I are the same person, right? I reincarnated myself in this life. Anari and I are really the same person when it comes to a lot of things. And so he was like, Mommy, listen, let me tell you what happened. So boom, the teacher, and I was like, oh, for real? Making excuses for Anari. In some areas, feel like I have crippled my son because I have made so many excuses for him. And I sit back and I take a look at like other parents, and whether it has to do with school, whether it has to like, I have a friend who has big kids and it's just like, oh, he's not ready to work yet, but he's 20 and you're still paying his phone bill. I don't know why we as moms always want to baby our damn sons and coddle them and hug on them and love on them. I do know why. I know. We ain't gonna say that though. Then we gonna say it then. So I be talking to my saints even when I'm talking to y'all. So if y'all hear me speaking to other people that aren't you, it's because I speak to the other realm. So the other side and I communicate on a regular basis. And the truth of the matter is women who do not have relationships or women who do not have men in their lives supplement their sons as, it's really difficult for me to say it because I'm guilty. And so I'm not pointing fingers at all the women that do it. I am one of the women who do it. And so we as women who do not have husbands, who do not have significant others that are, actively role models in our children's lives, supplement our sons for we cater to our sons like we would cater to our man. Yes, that was extremely difficult to say out loud, live. Y'all still love me? What's going on, Leonard Shatenge? Don't message Queen. There is no mistake in life but lesson. So just keep pushing no matter how the river. It still wants to grow. It's all about uncomfortable growing. If you got to fail to win, focus on what you can control and keep pushing. Joshua Rose says, send me the link to buy your book. I want that ASAP. TaylaAndre.com. TaylaAndre.com. Everything Tayla Andre is on the website. Thank you so much for your support in advance. And also if you have a book on good landlording, I want that as well. So that is actually another book that I plan on writing, is like resources for I bought the house. Now what is the book that I'm thinking about? Like, I'm a homeowner. Now what? And so covering anything and everything from, how do you utilize the programs that your city has in order to make upgrades to your house, to like, how do you choose the right contractor, everything, anything and everything. So that, yes, is like book number 2. I got like 12 more in my head, and little bullets on a piece of paper. That's not the book, but you got to step out on faith, absolutely, in everything that you do. You're scared of making mistakes. You compare yourself to others. The reason why you continue making excuses is because you compare yourself to others. And I can be transparent. So I'm over here like, Beyonce snapped back with something crazy, but that's Beyonce. Like, Beyonce just had it. We just had our kids at the same time, but that's Beyonce. And the truth of the matter is, I just recently purchased the book that Beyonce and Jay-Z used for their 22-day plant-based. And so what I learned from reading the book so far, I received it on Saturday. What I've learned so far is that being a vegan versus being a vegetarian versus being plant-based are very, very different things. And so you can be vegan and eat mad processed food and the, fake chicken sandwiches and the fake bean burgers, or the vegan macaroni and cheese, or the vegan cupcakes. Like, you can do all of that, but there's still refined sugars, there's still processed foods in it versus eating actually plant-based food. And so things that you eat raw and things that you cook minimally. And, that was really difficult because I was like, oh, but, I slimmed down a little bit from the baby rain weight, but was confused on like why I'm still here at the weight that I'm currently am. And it's, again, excuses. are the tools of the incompetent that build monuments of nothingness, and those who use them seldomly amount to anything. And so I had to have a really hard conversation with myself. Like, yo, I remember watching the video and she was just like, I'm so hungry. I was like, girl, yes. As I was eating a bag of chips. So I had to stop making excuses. I got the book of the 22 day. I'm taking complete sugars out. I recently got a new bottle of honey. And so my family owns an apiary. And so they have beekeepers, and those bees produce honey. And when I tell you it is liquid gold, it is crack on steroids. Like, I can never eat another honey ever again. Just like I can never, like, once you have something that's real and pure and just in its the most natural form ever, you can never go back to the process. And so right now, juicing, I've been juicing a lot, and that's why everything is coming out of me. Stop making excuses. I went out and got a juicer. I actually juice. It's so much work to clean up. It's really not, because it's like there's no grease, there's no oil. You're literally just washing plant. So it's a really easy clean. And so I was making 1,000,001 excuses, and I just stopped making excuses and started making juice. And I will never be able to go into the store and go get a Tropicana again like that. It tastes like trash. Once you actually juice your own carrot, my favorite, carrot, sweet potato, orange with a lemon, you'll never drink another naked juice. You understand like how much refinement and processing is actually going into those things. You'll never be able to drink it again, ever. And so I am training my body to like not be able to to stand anything else other than what I cook in my own kitchen. Except for going to Rhythms and Rap, because that vegan food is so good. And so it's like, stop comparing yourself to other people. Like, you can lose the weight. Beyonce's 18 trainers have nothing to do with her personal ability to be like, listen, B, we gonna get up and we gonna do this workout. And the same workout that she's doing, you can find on YouTube. There are no excuses. Keisha Kior, her snapback was damn near 24 hours. She pushed the baby out, came back looking like she ready to hit the runway. But she was preparing her entire pregnancy for the snapback. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Oh, I can't look like the football players. Something's wrong with this or something's wrong with that. I have a bad knee. How many athletes have bad knees? How many athletes have bad ligaments, bad everything, bad ankles, but they still get through whatever it is? Stop comparing yourself to other people. I can't do it because I don't have enough money for a personal trainer. Let me tell you, when them dudes come out of jail, they don't need a personal trainer. They go to the gym. Go to the gym and go not to the gym. They go to the playground and do pull-ups on the monkey bars. There's this one dude that recently got out of jail, and he be at the park every day. Like, he was there today with snow on the ground. They didn't clean up the park yet. The park still snowed out. He's still doing pull-ups and push-ups on the monkey bars. Show me another excuse. Give me another one. I need results, not excuses. My kids hate it when I say that. They hate it. Comparing yourself to others, protecting your identity. This one is weird to me, but I get it. For me, this one is like more ego-based. So you give excuse after excuse after excuse because you feel like it keeps you safe from showing who you truly are. Who you truly are underneath the surface. And so excuses are just give an excuse than it is to be honest with yourself and to be honest with others. And so for instance, it's easier to like, going back to comparing yourself to another person. And so you do not have to give your own examples. You don't have to be transparent. I'm completely fine with bearing my soul, and y'all could judge me for it, but at least you throw a stone in the glass house. And so me, in comparison to the whole Beyonce, like I could be snatched like Beyonce, but I don't have the trainer she has. I don't have the access to the vitamins she has. She has organic, like excuse after excuse after excuse, when the true reason is because I'm not motivated enough, because I don't want it bad enough, because I'm scared that if I get out here and I get small enough, my ass gonna be naked. I'm gonna be naked at carnival, and there's going to be no carnival. It's gonna be me down the street, but naked, like acting like it's carnival. Like I'm scared. I'm gonna be out here thoughting it out. You put me in a size 8, I'm gonna act a fool. Like excuse after excuse after excuse. I'm, comparing myself to others. I look good, but I don't look like, Tiana Taylor. Like her body is bad. I love the way, because she's real. She's solid, but she looks like she's still soft. Because I really do want to be like, I don't want to work out. I like being soft. No, I don't. No, I do. I like being fluffy. I just don't want to be like super soft. I'm scared of the sacrifice. Oh God. The team works out at 6 a.m., which means I have to be up at 5 in order to get self-motivated to begin to work out at 6. And so I'm afraid of the sacrifice. I'm terrified of the sacrifice. I think I lack resources, or you think you lack resources. You make excuses because of resources. I don't have enough money for it. I don't have enough access to this. I'm not smart enough for that. I'm not good enough at that. Well, everybody's making juice. If I make juice, who's going to buy my juice? Everybody wrote a damn book about buying a house, and it lacked a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I wrote it. So maybe your juice has ginger in it. Maybe your juice has your ancestry special ingredient. Like you think you lack something, you really don't. You don't at all. For my elders that are stuck in their ways, making excuses after excuses after excuses, talking about, that's just who I am. That's just how I am. What is it? Attitudes turn into, what is it? Attitudes turn into personality that turn into, how does that quote go? Attitudes, I think I wrote it somewhere. Attitudes, personality. No, I don't have it. It's something about a mood turns into a personality, turns into something. Damn it, why I can't think of the damn thing? Y'all know it? Anybody know it? I forgot. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna come back tomorrow. But it's like basically you're who you are isn't exactly who you are. And so you have had this attitude for so long that this attitude now turns into a personality, and you think you are this thing, but it's based on one circumstance that you never let go of. And so I am going to pay this bill because I am going to find it. I am so adamant. So give me 58 seconds.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.
Okay, I found it, but I didn't find it. And so I'm over it. An experience turns into an attitude, turns into classical conditioning, turns into your personality. And so that's like the actual medical, psychological definition of it. Your attitude shapes who you are. It's something along that lines, but it's not. So it's like, it's long and drawn out about like how you're, I'm going to find it. That's the first thing we're going to talk about tomorrow. And so finishing up the 13 reasons why you continuously make excuses and 13 reasons how you can stop making excuses. Stop being set in your ways. You're not set in your ways. That's not your personality trait. It's not who you are. It's who you allowed yourself to be. And so there are some people that are so attached to their grief and so attached to who it is that they are afraid to be who they could be. Like, for instance, people that are so attached to like this victimhood. And so I'm only going to use an example, and I don't want anybody cropping this out and saying I'm victim shaming, right? And so, for instance, I was in an abusive relationship, and because I was in an abusive relationship, I hate all men. And so this one thing that happened to me, I now am turning it into like who I am. I don't like men. I can't stand men. I don't want to be with a man because of one relationship. Yeah. And so I let this one circumstance dictate the rest of my life and the rest of my future and the way that I act because of one person doing one thing. And I allowed it to affect me this bad that now I have this personality of hating men. It's not. Excuses lead to failure of reaching your full potential. Like, you are stopping you from being great. You are your biggest roadblock. You are the number one reason why you can't do the things that you want to do. You're the number one reason why you haven't succeeded the way that you wanted to succeed. It's you and because of you. So what is it that you are going to do to stop you from getting in your way? That's a real question. What are you going to do to stop you from from you being in your way? Stop blaming others. Take responsibility for all your actions. I have to say, like, this is recent in the last 3 years where I'm just like, I take full responsibility. Well, it's not fully on you. Well, you know what? I take full responsibility for my actions of this thing, because if I don't take full responsibility, I'm not going to deal with it. It's not my problem if I'm going to continue making excuses for it. Take action every single day. If you're scared, still be scared. I'm scared. Yo, let me be transparent. And so I just joined this workout group, and they want everybody to like take pictures. And there's a certain way you have to take pictures. You have to take pictures, like forward facing pictures, and it has to be in a bikini or panty bra set type situation. And you have to do forward facing pictures. You have to do back pictures, and then you have to do side pictures. And I'm going to be extremely transparent right now. I am scared to do the side picture because they told us that we cannot hide our fupa. We have to take pictures with the fupas out of the panties. Any woman understands my pain right now. And then they're going to do like the before and after pictures. So after the 22 days, then the pictures are going to go up and everybody's going to see the fupa. I don't want everybody to see the fupa. I'm scared to death. I am absolutely scared. I'm terrified. The fupa is something serious. I hate it. And my excuse is because I had a C-section. I had 2 C-sections. I have ridiculous amount of scar tissue. I feel like my stomach will never be flat. I will always have a fupa. And I am terrified to take the damn picture with the fupa out of the panties. But we gonna do it because I'm stop making excuses. Why? Because excuses are the tools of the incompetent, and I am far from incompetent, baby. They build monuments of nothingness, and I am so great in my power. Those who choose to use them seldom amount to anything, and the last thing I'ma be is nothing. And so I am going to defeat my fears and overcome my goals and dream chase until I caught every single last one of them. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Everything Tayla Andre, TaylaAndre.com. Finally Home is a must-read step-by-step guide that will equip any first-time home buyer with the knowledge they need to confidently make informed decisions. This book provides answers in simple and clear terms to most, if not all, of the questions you may have about credit, home ownership, and generational wealth. Finally Home equips the reader with the confidence to be engaged with the home buying process without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tayla Made Real Estate Easy is not just a catchy hashtag. It is real estate agent and radio personality Tayla Andre's goal. A goal to simplify one of the most challenging processes you will go through as an adult. A goal to educate you properly on credit and teach you the strategies to finding the home of your dream. It is not just a good book or an easy read. It is the secret to a seamless home buying experience.